President Paul Biya is invited for a state visit to Algeria. The President of the Republic receives at the Unity Palace Algerian Foreign Minister Sabri Boukhadoum, bearer of the message. The Cameroon People's Democratic Movement (CPDM) celebrates 36 years of leadership in the political terrain of the country. Strides covered, achievements recorded, and the impact on nation building come up in this newscast. The belated tarring of the 6-kilometer stretch at the Kolmensen neighborhood in Yaoundé will soon begin. Compensations of the riverine populations are being finalized. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Those were the headlines of the 7:30 News.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
We begin our 30-minute newscast tonight with news from the Unity Palace. President Paul Biya has been invited for a state visit to Algeria. The invitation was handed him during an audience he granted today to the Algerian Foreign Minister, Sabri Boukhadoum. The two personalities also exchanged on strengthening relations between both countries. Chief Unity Palace correspondent Ashunianti reports.
It is in a cloudy but friendly weather around the Unity Palace that the Algerian Foreign Minister is received this 24th March 2021 by both the Chief of State Protocol, Simon Pierre Bikele, and the Minister, Director of the Civil Cabinet, Samuel Mvondo Ayolo. Sabri Boukhadoum goes through the COVID-19 protocol before he is cleared to meet the head of state.
Monsieur Sabri Boukhadoum, ministre algérien des Affaires étrangères.
Monsieur le ministre, bonjour.
Cameroon and Algeria are similar in the security challenges they face at the moment, terrorism being one of the common denominators. This is what the two personalities talk about for close to 1 hour. Apart from handing an invitation to President Biya for a state visit, the Algerian diplomat listens to the president's vision of Africa and African unity. The two personalities also discuss how to give a new push to Algeria-Cameroon relations, this being the first top visit to Cameroon since President Tebboune took power. We talked about problems affecting the continent at the moment. Security, peace and stability. Regional issues were also on the table. The president gratified me with the depth of his wisdom. Algeria intends to establish an air link with Cameroon and also participate in the development of infrastructural projects stalled by COVID-19, but now ready to go ahead. This renewed friendship is sealed over an exchange of gifts. There are indications that in the days ahead, the Algiers-Yaoundé axis may become warmer.
And to one of our top stories, the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM, fought 36 years of leadership in the political landscape of the country. Given the health context which warrants that barrier measures be applied, the CPDM Central Committee decreed that the low-key anniversary celebration be used to reflect on welfare and development. Beatrice Lawsamba drove through the streets of Yaoundé, where it was business as usual for CPDM supporters. Here's a report.
An ordinary day in the nation's capital. An ordinary day for the CPDM party supporters who on a day like this in previous years would be feasting in their party headquarters. Here, it is all business as usual.
It looks like a normal day because we shouldn't forget that the CPDM is an ordinary political party made up of ordinary citizens. It's a party of the masses. villagers from Mulundu to Furawa.
CPDM party houses seem to have been caught by the cold of a rainy day. The party hierarchy's instructions for celebrations to be withdrawn heeded here. In the streets of Yaoundé, not a militant is found in party fabric. They've all gone to work. In the course of the day, they'll probably spare a thought for the party, whose 36 years are marked today in a particularly difficult context. By opting for a low-key commemoration, the leading political party in Cameroon says it wants to preach by example, respecting the wish of government to social distance and observe barrier measures.
In 36 years of existence, the CPDM has proven its political weight, which experts attribute to a strong sense of organization. In Cameroon, just like abroad, the party sympathizers are being diligently coordinated from the base to the political bureau. The party's leadership, provided by the national chair, Paul BIYA, also works for the growing numbers. Prince Will Mukwele Aduma explains.
Numbers, the undisputable character trait of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement. The CPDM party wields an influence on the political landscape for 36 years, planting itself on the national triangle, amazing to supporters, yet questioned by critics.
CPDM was built from what was used to call CNU. So CPDM gained it and has just to promote what was existing from 1966 to 1985.
But the strength of the party will not rest only on its numbers, not if this crowd harbors conflicting shades of opinion and the tendency to look outside.
CPDM has its own rules. All those who are members of that party recognize the head of the party as the most important person. When the national president gives an orientation, all the party respect it.
The line of the party permits all the supporters to be in cohesion with the hierarchy of the party.
Party stalwarts affirm that the party's summit is privy to experience, with President Paul BIYA's stewardship a plus.
When you have someone like him, with all this experience, with of this political life, you can just have a party which is winning and winning.
Were it not for the current health crisis, the party's sweeping victory in the regional elections last December would have been the icing of the cake in this year's celebration.
The exponential growth of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement is visible in lawmaking and deliberative institutions in the country. The party today counts 152 members at the National Assembly and 88 at the Senate. Its sweeping victory at the first ever regional council election is also indicative of its might in the face of opposition. Constantin Baum reports.
The CPDM party enjoys an absolute majority in parliament, with 152 MPs out of 180 at the lower house, while at the upper house there are 88 senators. The party as well scored a landslide victory in the country's first regional election, winning 9 out of the country's 10 administrative regions, maintaining the leading position in Cameroon's political landscape, with political scientists saying the leadership position comes with responsibilities.
Devising specific strategy which can help them address the preoccupation of the masses of their populations.
Those who voted the party hope to see the party reinforce actions with very clear plans and projects for the development of the nation.
If China is to be assessed in conformity with Western standards, it will never be seen as a politically interesting country. But economically speaking, what is being achieved by the Communist Party is really wonderful. So they should be very, very concentrated and start working in specific actions that will help boost the economic capacity and help attain the major objective of emergence in 2035.
The party is also blessed with the necessary experience to keep on benchmarking policies that will enable Cameroon emerge by 2035.
And talking about the party national chairman, it's been 2 years since President Paul BIYA is at the helm of the Economic and Monetary Commission of Central African States, CEMAC, as chair. His mandate has been placed on fostering regional integration and industrialization. Caroline Okeanoma reports on the actions taken during his presidency.
The 2019 Extraordinary Summit of Heads of States of CEMAC ushered in President Paul Biya as the dedicated chairman of Heads of States of the CEMAC sub-region. Today marked 2 years of his mandate, which can be termed successful until the COVID-19 pandemic set in. A retrospective look at the CEMAC sub-region during President Paul Biya's tenure shows how the CEMAC sub-region was improving substantially, with a growth rate of about 2% in 2019 against 1.8% in 2018. The PREF CEMAC overall actions carried out to date have been quite tangible and visible. The achievement of finances of the 12 integrative projects worth 3.4 billion euros, the promotion of trade, industry, agriculture, and fisheries, the formulation of common policies in various economic sectors, the university cooperation, the free movement of people and goods, the launching of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the completion of some major road infrastructures, the stimulus package worth 2 billion CFA francs for each member state are all some major achievements under President Paul Biya's mandate. Conscious of the existing security, health, and economic crisis affecting the CEMAC sub-region, President Paul Biya, however, commended CEMAC member states for their continuous commitments towards making CEMAC an emerging integrated economic area in which security, solidarity, and good governance reign at the service of human development by 2035.
In one of our top stories, the belated tarring of the Kolmeseng Road in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, will soon see the light of day as compensations to the affected families is being finalized. The 6-kilometer double lane funded in the 2019 state budget has experienced a considerable delay, which the state is addressing. Luma Slim Davies has the details.
The Kolmeseng Road running through the O2 roundabout up to Tradex Eleve has been a cause for serious concern for the population. However, their worries may soon end following recent arrangements.
I assure that this road will be tarred starting July. The delay is July 2021 to open to works in Kolmeseng.
The decree on the tarring of the road is out, and the validation is awaited. Money to pay compensation for properties destroyed is available, and the evaluation plan for installation has been carried out.
They want to know which amount they will perceive for each family. They can perceive money directly from the City Council of Yaoundé, and they can also be compensated by the World Bank.
Expectations are high on the tarring of the Kolmeseng through Tradex Eleve Road, and the people are hoping and waiting. But the biggest hope is that things should not just end at the level of hope. Effective tarring should follow. I am Luma Slim Davis at Kolmeseng for CRTV News.
Still on road developments, the Vodola-Mbembe-Ndom stretch, which links Lekki Division in the Centre region to Sanaga Maritime Division in the Littoral region, is an example of cost-effective, affordable and easy-to-maintain infrastructure. The World Bank recommended model, engineers say, is ideal for developing nations and is expected to last nearly 2 decades. Alphonse Abongwa reports.
Based on World Bank findings, the cost of road construction in Cameroon usually raises controversy because it sometimes doubles or even triples that of countries of similar development levels. The Vodola-Mbembe-Ndom project witnessed an average of 125 million CFA francs per kilometer compared to the national average, which stands at 209 million CFA francs.
It is cheaper because we have adopted the new CRTV system, which consists of determining cost and types of intervention done in a unique price.
Technicians opted for the World Bank recommended CRTV model to minimize these costs, especially at the level of maintenance and sustainability.
Environmental measures have been respected. There is an environmental and social impact study that was conducted and with an environmental conformity.
This road project serves as pilot phase for others where the CRTV model of construction are expected to be used by PIDMA.
In other news, the sum of 120 million CFA francs has been disbursed as government subvention to the private press. The funds, which dropped from 240 million CFA francs, will be distributed to 105 press organs in the country. The revelation was made today by the president of the commission charged with examining files, Minister René Sadi. Beatrice Ngum tells us more.
94 of the 105 press organs selected to receive government aid to the private press are weeklies and bi-weeklies, while 11 are online papers. To the Minister of Communication, René Sadi, and President of the Commission charged with examining the files, the subvention has dropped compared to previous years. This year, 120 million CFA francs will be distributed. The decline is caused by the socio-economic situation in the country and the health crisis.
It is very disheartening to imagine that we have 105 applications for 120 million. By the time we take away taxes, we're talking of sharing less than 100 million to 105 applicants. The envelope has been slashed by more than half. I really wonder how my peers are going to take the news, but we just have to manage with what government has made available to us.
Conscious the amount is insignificant, the minister, however, enjoined them not to derail from their primary objective, which is that of giving out quality and credible information to the public. He called on the members of the commission to be transparent in the treatment of the files and in the subsequent distribution.
On to Parliament, the members of the Senate have received 9 government bills which seek to authorize the President of the Republic to ratify military, economic and visa facilitation accords. The bills, deemed admissible by the Chairman's Conference, were tabled in plenary today by Senate President Marcel Nyat Jifenji. Charles Anyango reports.
Senators in the days ahead will be called upon to scrutinize 9 bills tabled before them this Wednesday. The bills authorizing the President of the Republic to ratify several treaties and cooperation agreements include that with the United Arab Emirates to avoid double taxation and to prevent tax evasion, as well as another to facilitate the obtention of visas by citizens of both countries. The ratification of military training cooperation between Cameroon and Turkey and another on the military framework agreement between the two countries are also before senators for examination. Relations between Cameroon and Brazil will be strengthened in the judicial domain as both countries seek to ratify the agreement on the transfer of persons sentenced to deprivation of liberty. In the economic domain, one of the bills authorizing the President of the Republic to ratify is the ordinance to extend the effects of the Cameroon-European Union Economic Agreement to Great Britain and Northern Ireland, the ratification of the Marrakesh Treaty to facilitate access to public works by persons with disabilities, the ratification of the Georgetown Agreement, and the extradition agreement between Cameroon and Brazil are all the bills to be examined by the competent committees before they will be defended by the different members of government concerned.
And 5 of these bills were scrutinized today at the National Assembly by the Committee on Foreign Affairs. And the National Assembly is mourning one of its members. Honorable Prince Mikodi Angeber of Bumba and Goko constituency died today in Yaoundé. He was member of the Committee on Economic Affairs, Programming and Regional Planning. He was also chair of the Parliamentary Network for the Promotion of Good Governance. In other news, 104 small and medium-sized enterprises are expected to be created in the country with the actors specialized in car cleaning. A partnership agreement to this effect has been signed between the state and a private initiative known as Hawash Salo. Gerard Nanjayambe has the details.
On behalf of the State of Cameroon, the respective Ministers of Employment and Vocational Training, Youth Affairs and Civic Education, and that of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Social, Economy and Handicraft were unanimous that this project will lead to the creation of formal jobs and youth empowerment.
104 micro-enterprises will be created in the 10 regions of our country. Financing is already available.
The Hawash Salu Company, through its Green Initiative tool, intends to provide 1,000 kits of various equipment and material.
COWAS is a mobile card device that was designed by a Cameroonian to simplify the way of doing a car wash. Sometimes there's a lack of water or there's a power cut. You have to queue up. A kit is an employment that will be made from Cameroon.
All this is part of government's action towards the country's emergence in 2035.
50,000 test kits for COVID-19 have been donated to the Ministry of Public Health by Clinton Health Access, African Union and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The Minister of Public Health, Manawuda Malashi, received the equipment today, which can enable the public get their COVID-19 results in 12 minutes. Joyce Tata has the details.
A donation worth 400 million CFA francs to speed up the availability of COVID-19 test results. This will further reinforce government's test, track and treat strategy.
It's a donation which comprises of 30 machines, 50,000 tests, 50,000 sample collection kits, and 130 electronic platforms for the management and transmission of data.
Health personnel at the Quality Assurance Center Yaoundé, thanks to a 2-day training, now master the equipment. An on-the-spot demonstration was carried out, and 12 minutes later, the result is out. The over 50,000 test kits will be immediately ferried to all 10 regions of Cameroon. After diagnosis, some positive cases in Yaoundé are taken to the specialized center for the care of COVID-19 patients.
We have received in total more than 1,500 patients. Among them, we unfortunately has about 119 deaths.
Patients affirm they are well taken care of. Treatment is free for every patient as well as for the medical personnel on duty who may be contaminated. Medics advise early detection prevents loss.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Getting a COVID-19 test for persons who desire to travel out of the country is preoccupying as the population remains ignorant of where to find the approved centers. There are, however, a number of them homologated who are authorized to issue the results required for travel procedures. Baldwin Sama and his guest, Dr. Eric Tandy, are at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center. They now update us on these points. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Esther Kema. Indeed, many persons who wanted to travel out of the country these days are so worried as to where exactly should they have themselves screened for COVID-19, because there were specialized screening centers for COVID-19 for those who wish to travel out of the country. For us to know more about these centers, let's discuss with our guest tonight, Dr. Eric Tandy. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Yeah, good evening, Baldwin.
Those who wish to travel out of the country, they must have themselves screened for COVID-19. Where exactly must they go to?
Yeah, that's right. I think the minister has made it very clear where these people need to be screened before they could execute a traveling out of the nation. For example, in Yaoundé, if you want to go to get yourself tested while traveling, you have to go to Esplanade of the sport complex in Yaoundé. In Douala, you can as well go to La Cantini. Again, the minister planned to extend to other regions, and once this shall be officially made clear, then individuals can now go to other centers for screening.
Meaning, therefore, that those who are in other regions like Bamenda, Ngaoundé, or the far north, if they want to travel, they find themselves in Yaoundé, they must go to the sports complex, or in Douala, they must go to La Cantini.
That's right. Like I rightly said, there is a plan to extend to these regions, and once the laboratories will meet the safety and capability conditions, they will be accredited for passengers or whoever wants to travel to go in for screening.
Thanks so much, Dr. Evitandi, for that precision as to where exactly to go to have yourself screened for COVID-19 if you have to travel out of the country. Respect these measures. The sports complex in Yaoundé and La Kentini in Douala, for those in the regions, they will have more information about these centers in the days ahead. Back to you, Esther Kima.
Thanks, Baldwin Sama. It is 1 year after the passing on of Cameroon's iconic saxophonist Manu Dibango. Memories of his outstanding work still linger on. Youth in the country have been initiated in the art, and replays of songs like Ayo Africa are being echoed at the Music Tree in Biemasi, Yaoundé to celebrate his life. Emmanuel Avenu reports on the new generation of saxophonists.
Into Arbre à Musique we go, where Somaloba, one of the successful tracks of Cameroon's iconic saxophonist Manu Dibango, fills the air. These are the young disciples of Papa Groove, upholding his legacy in their own way. None of them is up to the age of this song released 21 years ago, yet stage a replay with ease. The legend now sleeps forever. Those he inspired sleep on hard work to truly represent him.
I hear the song of Manu Dibango, Makosa. I like it. It's why I choose to play saxophone. I want to be bigger than Manu Dibango.
Manu Dibango was a great saxophonist born in Cameroon.
Another track, Aye Africa, receives a youthful touch.
I want to teach other people this instrument.
The trainers are behind the results with a lot of hope.
An instrumentalist like Manu Dibango never die, and we have to perpetuate his work, and it's through the youth that we can do it.
And the journey just got started.
In religion, the Bishop of the Sang-Milima Diocese, His Lordship Christophe Toa, has cautioned the youth of the Our Lady of Lourdes parish in Dezum against the use of hard drugs. This was after a pastoral visit to some parishes which took him to the Marian Grotto in Mekalat in Meyomesala subdivision. Bernice Atabong tells us more.
A Marian grotto in a locality mostly inhabited by Protestants is not common. The Bishop of Sang-Milima, His Lordship Christophe Zoa, who visited this grotto in Mekalat in the Meyomesala subdivision, praised the ecumenism that exists in this area and appreciated the Marian grotto constructed by an elder of the Église Presbyterian Camerounaise. The Holy Spirit inspired me to build this grotto. Jesus always walks with his mother Mary. As part of his pastoral visit, the bishop also went to the Our Lady of Lourdes parish in Ndezum, where he discouraged Christians from consuming hard drugs. In this village, youths do not work any longer. They consume a lot of alcohol and hard drugs. This has negative consequences on their families, like sickness and untimely death. During the Mass, more than 1 million CFA francs was raised for the continuation of construction works on the new church building.
And that will be all for this edition of the 7:30 News, in which you mainly heard that President Paul Biya has been invited for a state visit to Algeria. The President of the Republic received at the Unity Palace today the Algerian Foreign Minister Sabri Boukadoum, bearer of the message. At 8 p.m, you're going to be in the company of J. Bonde Albert. He's going to be presenting a special program titled Mission to Better the Bilingual Program, revisit President Paul Biya's humanitarian assistance to the people of Equatorial Guinea following the explosion on March 7. And after the 8:30 p.m. newscast, that is about 9 p.m, you'll be treated to a program titled Manu. It is a program that pays homage to Manu Dibango. Stay tuned to our programs on CRTV. Join Aden Bala at 8:30 p.m. I'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.